Howdy. Welcome to my shop. My name's Ron and I'll be your host for the next 10 minutes or so. Being a fourth generation carpenter, wood is that's my language. It's my living, it's my hobby, it's my passion. One of those passions is making stocks. I've never had any formal training in this. I just wanted to put a piece of wood on a gun one day, and I seemed like that'd be a pretty unique challenge, so I tried it. And been going at it ever since, but honestly, I owe a lot of my success to my customers, my friends that have suggested this or that, different ways of doing it to produce a better outcome. And so I appreciate them. I owe them a great deal. The finish that I use was suggested by a friend of mine that owns a gun shop in Georgia, a guy named Dan. I've been friends with him for many years, and I owe him for that knowledge. So I don't suggest that my way is the only way. That's just not the case. I picked up my abilities to do this from watching other people and seeing other things and then figuring out how to do that. So it's a process. Some ways are better, cleaner, faster. They require less effort. On and on it goes. And I'm open to learning new and better ways. I'm always looking for that. My grandfather used to say, never let a day go by that you don't learn something. So when I do, I'll often look up, thanks, Pop, because no matter how old you get, you still need to be learning new things. So come on in, see what's going on today. I've got 2 stocks to finish today, and I'm going to be using, this is the finish that a friend of mine, Dan, in Georgia, turned me on to this. Expensive stuff. It's about $45 a quart. But it does the best job I know. And it's extremely sensitive to oxygen, air. And so what I do is, when I seal it, put a piece of plastic underneath it, just another little liner, and I'll blow my breath. I'll exhale into this, because the top of this thing there's that much air in it. If you don't do that, you need to somehow or another take up the space of what you've used out. Some people put clean rocks, which I don't know about that one. Some people use ball bearings, steel ball bearings that are clean. Of course, you can't pollute this in any way with oil or grit or anything. So whatever you put in there has got to be clean. But it will displace the space and then rise the level up so there's no space left. But I find that air works well. I've heard that acetylene works really well. If you have a gas torch, you can just blow acetylene in there and then slam the lid on it right quick. And you're forcing the air, the oxygen, out of there. When you blow into it, you're forcing carbon dioxide in. This doesn't react with carbon dioxide. It reacts with air and makes it set up, and it's just too expensive to let it go to waste. So, and then you don't want to grab this lid with vice grips. I loaned a quart of this stuff, about half full, to a guy that was finishing a guitar, and he couldn't get the lid off. So instead of using his fingers and just suffering through it, he put some vice grips or channel locks or something on there, and he wrinkled my lid, which didn't make it airtight anymore, and I lost about 20 bucks worth of this stuff. Anyway, this is what I use. 2 stocks to finish, and so we're going to get on with this. You can see how well this piece of plastic has sealed. It's tight. There's a concave in there. And also I squeeze the can when I'm blowing air into it, and I put the lid on. I squeeze the can to make it a suction, and whenever I pull this off, you can actually see it turn loose. Pretty good system. I just use a fine artist brush. I buy these things in packs at Walmart. You get an assortment of them for $3 or $4. but they do a really good job on stocks. And you use them a while and then just throw them away. Now the first few coats, I put on with my hands or brush. And I put it on pretty thick. It doesn't matter if you put finish on the bedding. I don't, because it just adds buildup that you don't need. And that bedding is fiberglass, or not fiberglass, epoxy, and it doesn't need to be sealed. But other than that, I put it all along the inside, all around the magazine well, all around the trigger. I seal it up because I never know if somebody's going to be caught out in the rain, and so I seal it up pretty tight. This stuff is about as thin as water, which really makes it go in well and get into the pores deep down. But it also makes it very prone to run. So you got to go back, brush it out, check all your work, and it dries quickly, so it doesn't keep you tied up forever. But you do need to check for runs the first few minutes. I like to put it on pretty thick on the first coat. I like to really let it penetrate, get in as far as it can go. I'm not taking a lot of time and care with like brush marks or anything like that. I'm just getting it on there. Sometimes I stain guns. Sometimes. Probably most of the time. But on these two, there's so much figure. Stain actually hides your figure a little bit. It kind of masks over. The darker the stain, the more it hides. I really wanted this tiger stripe to show up. I seal inside. I seal everywhere. Especially I seal under the butt plate. Because if you're going to get oil or water and it's going to sit anywhere, it's going to get there. Most people store their guns in a vertical position in a gun rack or a gun safe. And all of the excess oil, people tend to spray their guns down with way too much oil sometimes, some people. Or if you get any moisture, if somebody's been hunting and they come in and they've gotten wet, they'll just prop it up in the corner until they get themselves dry and probably some food. And all that moisture runs down to right there. And then it just stays there, and it's not good for it. That end grain really soaks up the finish. and that's good. Whatever I've got sealed, water can't get in. Or oil. Oil is worse than water. Oil will get in there and actually lift the finish off around here. If you look at some of the Remingtons that had that Mylar finish on them, oh my goodness. That stuff, it would start lifting off around here where people would spray them down with WD-40 and walk off. And man, it lifted that finish up terrible. It would just peel like a scaly fish. What do you think? Pretty piece of wood. Only God can make a piece of wood like that. We just get to play with them. I like it. I like it. Now I just put it in a clamp and leave it vertical. That part right there on the bottom is pretty. And on the whole back end of it is that. What do you think, Kemosabe? I like it. This may be a silly thing to some people, but it's a thing that I found that works the best. And as I'm tightening that, I squeeze it. After I get it tight, I let the pressure off and it forms a suction, a vacuum that'll pull that piece of plastic down. Works for me. Well, thanks for choosing to spend your time here with me today. I hope you've enjoyed this program. I'll try to post a new segment each weekend. In addition, if you'd like to read about a stock that I made and then it took a 20-foot free fall, click on the link at the bottom of this page. It's called The Broken Gun. It's a story I wrote a few years ago about my two boys. Sometimes life's hard and things get broken. Now and then we get a chance to fix them. I'm so grateful for the opportunity I had to repair this broken stock. It led to a restoration that I never could have imagined. As always, if you like this video, please click the like button and share this with your friends. Have a great day.